There was a time when being unavailable was normal. You could leave the house and nobody knew exactly where you were. You could go for a walk without carrying a communication device. You could spend an evening reading, thinking, or simply doing nothing without being interrupted by messages, alerts, requests, and notifications. Today, something very different has become normal. We are reachable almost all the time. Family can contact us instantly. Friends expect quick replies. Work can follow us home. Apps remind us of things we never asked to remember. And when we do not respond quickly, we may feel as though we are ignoring someone. Technology has given us extraordinary access to one another. But there is a question we rarely ask. What does it cost us to be available all the time? The answer may be more significant than we realize. Availability has become an expectation. The problem is not simply that we own phones. Phones are useful. Messaging is useful. Being able to reach someone in an emergency is valuable. The deeper issue is that constant access has gradually changed our expectations of one another. A message arrives. We see it, and almost immediately, an invisible clock begins ticking. Should I answer now? Will they think I am rude? What if they need something? Why haven't I responded yet? Nothing has been said aloud, but an obligation has entered the room. This happens repeatedly throughout the day. One message is insignificant, but dozens of small demands for attention can fragment an entire day. And fragmentation carries a psychological cost. Your attention is being interrupted before you notice it. Attention is not an unlimited resource. Every time we switch from one mental task to another, the brain must redirect itself. Imagine reading a thoughtful article. A message appears. You check it, you respond, then you return to reading. Physically, the interruption may have lasted only 30 seconds. Mentally, however, something else happened. Your train of thought was broken. Your emotional state changed. Your attention shifted, and you must now reconstruct where you were. Repeat that process throughout the day, and concentration becomes increasingly shallow. We begin living in small pieces of attention. A few minutes here, a message there, a notification, a headline, another request, another reply. We may remain busy for hours, while rarely experiencing sustained focus. The loss of psychological solitude. But there is an even deeper cost. Human beings need periods of psychological solitude. This does not necessarily mean being physically alone. It means temporarily being free from other people's demands, opinions, expectations, and reactions. Solitude gives us space to hear our own thoughts. Without that space, it becomes surprisingly easy to live in response mode. Someone asks something. We respond. Someone posts something. We react. Someone needs something. We adjust. And slowly, our attention becomes organized around the outside world. This is why a quiet walk can sometimes produce an insight that never appears while sitting in front of a screen. The mind finally has room to complete its own thoughts. When every quiet moment is filled with communication, that mental space begins disappearing. Being needed can become part of our identity. There is another side to constant availability that is rarely discussed. Sometimes we do not remain available only because other people expect it. We remain available because being needed feels good. Being the dependable person can become part of our identity. The person who answers, the person who helps, the person who solves problems, the person who is always there. There is nothing wrong with being reliable. But reliability becomes unhealthy when we begin believing that being unavailable makes us selfish. Then boundaries start feeling like rejection. Saying "not now" feels like letting someone down. Turning off the phone creates anxiety, and taking time for ourselves begins to require justification. At that point, availability is no longer simply generosity. It has become obligation. The difference between connection and access. This distinction matters. Connection and access are not the same thing. Someone can have constant access to us without experiencing genuine connection. We can exchange dozens of messages while never having a meaningful conversation. We can follow hundreds of people while feeling lonely. We can respond immediately to everyone while rarely being fully present with anyone. Real connection requires attention. Constant access often divides it. Sometimes the best thing we can offer another person is not immediate availability. It is full presence when we actually choose to be with them. Why boundaries feel uncomfortable? This is where many people struggle. They understand intellectually that boundaries are healthy, but emotionally, boundaries can feel uncomfortable. Suppose you decide not to answer messages after 8 o'clock in the evening. Nothing dramatic happens, but you may feel uneasy. What if someone thinks I am ignoring them? What if something important happens? What if I seem unfriendly? That discomfort can tempt us to abandon the boundary. But boundaries are not punishments. They are simply decisions about where one part of life ends and another begins. Without boundaries, everything begins spilling into everything else. Work enters dinner, messages enter sleep, news enters relaxation, other people's urgency enters our peace. Eventually, we may be physically present everywhere while mentally present nowhere. The solution is not to disappear from modern life. We do not need to throw away our phones or reject technology. We simply need to become more intentional about access. That can begin with something very small. Allow some messages to wait. Turn off notifications that do not deserve immediate attention. Create periods when the phone is not beside you. Do one activity without simultaneously checking anything else. And perhaps most importantly, stop treating every interruption as equally important. Not every message is urgent. Not every request requires an immediate answer. Not every notification deserves your attention. Availability should be something we choose, not a default condition imposed upon us. Something important happens when you become unreachable. When we create even short periods of genuine unavailability, something interesting begins to happen. At first, we may feel restless. Then the mind slowly settles. Thoughts become longer. Attention becomes steadier. We notice things we had been rushing past. And sometimes we discover how tired we actually were. Constant stimulation can hide exhaustion. Constant communication can hide loneliness. Constant activity can hide uncertainty. Quiet removes some of that camouflage, which is one reason people sometimes avoid it. But quiet is also where clarity often begins. Modern technology has made it possible to reach almost anyone, almost anywhere, almost instantly. That is an extraordinary achievement. But just because we can be reachable all the time does not mean we should be. A healthy life requires connection, but it also requires separation, conversation, and silence, availability, and privacy, being there for others, and occasionally being unavailable to everyone. Because your attention is not an unlimited public resource. It is part of your life. And where you place it determines, in a very real sense, what kind of life you experience. So perhaps the question is not, why haven't I answered yet? Perhaps a better question is, does this require my attention right now? Sometimes the answer will be yes. And sometimes one of the healthiest answers you can give yourself is, not yet. If this reflection gave you something to think about, subscribe to WellnessHubNest for more explorations of psychology, well-being, conscious living, and the everyday patterns that quietly shape our lives.